Imagine this. It's the 93rd minute of a championship final. The score is tied. Your team is desperately defending a corner kick. The ball is crossed, headed toward goal, and your defender instinctively reaches out his hand, stopping a certain goal. The referee points to the penalty spot. The stadium falls silent. Your team's championship dreams are about to be shattered. But then, something extraordinary happens. The referee consults with his assistant and waves off the penalty. The opposition players are furious. The commentators are baffled. But somewhere in the labyrinth of football's rulebook, an obscure regulation has just saved your team. What if I told you that football, the world's most popular sport, is governed by rules that even professional players don't fully understand? That matches at the highest level have been decided not by skill or luck, but by obscure technicalities buried deep within the laws of the game. Today, I'm taking you inside football's secret rulebook, the lesser-known regulations that have changed the outcome of crucial matches and altered football history forever. And trust me, the most shocking rule of all, applied in the dying seconds of a World Cup knockout match, left an entire nation in disbelief. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you were in the referee's shoes, forced to make a split-second decision based on a rule that almost nobody knows about? Because for the officials in these stories, that nightmare scenario became reality, with millions watching and judging their every move. Football's laws of the game seem straightforward on the surface, but beneath the common regulations, we all know lie complex clauses, interpretations, and exceptions that come into play at the most crucial moments. These are the rules that referees study for years, but hope they never have to apply. The first obscure rule on our list is one that goalkeepers around the world dread, the 6-second rule. According to Law 12 of the game, a goalkeeper can only control the ball with their hands for 6 seconds before releasing it. Exceed that time and the referee should award an indirect free kick to the opposition. Sounds simple enough, right? But here's what makes this rule so controversial. It's almost never enforced. Almost. Just ask Liverpool goalkeeper Pepe Reina about the time this forgotten rule cost his team dearly. In a crucial Premier League match against Arsenal in 2020, with Liverpool leading 1-0 and just 5 minutes remaining, Reina collected a simple cross and held on to the ball. Perhaps he was trying to run down the clock, or maybe he was simply organizing his defense. Either way, referee Stuart Atwell began counting. When Reina reached approximately 8 seconds, Atwell blew his whistle and awarded an indirect free kick to Arsenal, inside Liverpool's penalty area. The Liverpool players were stunned. They hadn't seen this rule enforced in years. As Arsenal's players quickly set up for the free kick just 12 yards from goal, chaos ensued. Defenders rushed back, Reina frantically organized a wall, and in the confusion, Arsenal's captain fired the ball through a gap and into the net. The match ended 1-1, costing Liverpool 2 vital points in their title chase. What makes this incident even more extraordinary is what happened afterward. Statistics revealed that in the previous 500 Premier League matches, the 6-second rule had been enforced exactly 0 times. Reina had fallen victim to perhaps the most selectively applied rule in football. Liverpool's manager later revealed that the league had sent a memo to clubs the previous week, warning that officials would be enforcing this rule more strictly. Unfortunately for Liverpool, that memo had been lost in the club's administrative system and never reached the players. But the 6-second rule isn't the only timekeeping anomaly hidden in football's rulebook. Our second obscure rule concerns stoppage time itself, and it once saved Barcelona from certain elimination in the Champions League. Most fans believe that when the fourth official indicates added time, let's say 4 minutes, the referee must blow the final whistle once those exact 4 minutes have elapsed. This is completely false. The indicated added time is merely a minimum, and the referee has full discretion to extend it further for any stoppages that occurred during the added period itself. This distinction became dramatically apparent during Barcelona's legendary Champions League comeback against Paris Saint-Germain in 2017. With the aggregate score at 5-5, meaning PSG would advance on away goals, the fourth official had indicated 5 minutes of added time. When the clock hit 95 minutes, Barcelona won a free kick and delivered it into the box. Sergi Roberto scored the decisive goal at 95-27, technically beyond the indicated added time. PSG's players and staff were furious, believing the goal should not have counted because it came after the allotted 5 minutes. What they didn't realize was that the referee had correctly extended the minimum 5 minutes to account for a substitution and a minor injury that had occurred during stoppage time itself. The goal stood, Barcelona completed the greatest comeback in Champions League history, and PSG filed an official complaint that was swiftly dismissed by UEFA with a simple reference to the exact rule in question. Our third obscure rule has confused players, fans, and even commentators for decades: the passive offside rule. Most football followers understand the basic offside rule. An attacking player cannot be beyond the last defender when the ball is played to them. But the passive or non-interfering offside position is where things get complicated. According to the laws, a player in an offside position is only penalized if they are actively involved in play by either touching the ball, interfering with an opponent, or gaining an advantage from being in that position. This nuanced interpretation created one of the most controversial moments in World Cup history during the 2010 semi-final between Germany and Spain. With the match tied 0-0 in the 73rd minute, Spain's Andres Iniesta received the ball near the German goal, with teammate David Villa clearly standing in an offside position directly in front of goalkeeper Manuel Neuer. Iniesta shot and scored. The German players immediately protested, pointing at Villa, who appeared to be blocking Neuer's line of sight. However, the referee determined that while Villa was in an offside position, he had not touched the ball, had not made an obvious action that impacted Neuer's ability to save the shot, and therefore was passive in the play. The goal stood, Spain advanced to the final, which they eventually won, and Germany was eliminated. Analysis later revealed that Neuer's view was indeed partially obstructed by Villa, but not enough to definitively say he was interfering with an opponent. The German Football Association subsequently petitioned FIFA to clarify the passive offside rule, leading to revisions that today would likely have ruled out Iniesta's goal. But sometimes, even the most basic rules have hidden clauses that only emerge in the rarest circumstances. Our fourth obscure rule concerns penalty kicks and what happens immediately after one is taken. The double touch rule states that when a player takes a penalty, they cannot touch the ball a second time until another player from either team has touched it. This includes rebounds off the goalkeeper or the goalposts. In the 2019 Women's World Cup, this obscure rule nearly cost England their quarterfinal match against Norway. With England leading 1-0, they were awarded a penalty which Nikita Parris stepped up to take. Her shot was saved by the Norwegian goalkeeper, but the ball rebounded straight back to Parris, who instinctively fired the rebound into the net. The England team began celebrating what they thought was a 2-0 lead, but the referee immediately disallowed the goal and awarded an indirect free kick to Norway. Many viewers were confused. Hadn't Parris simply shown great striker's instinct by following up her own shot? What few realized is that she had violated the double touch rule. If any other England player had scored from that rebound, the goal would have stood. But because Parris touched the ball twice in succession without another player making contact, the goal was correctly disallowed. England's manager later admitted that in 20 years of professional football, she had never seen this rule applied in a match situation. Thankfully for England, they still went on to win the match 3-0. But not all teams are so fortunate when obscure rules come into play. Perhaps the most dramatic application of a little-known rule occurred in the final minutes of a 2022 World Cup qualifier between Portugal and Serbia. With the score tied at 1-1 in the 90+3 minute, Portugal's Cristiano Ronaldo appeared to score the winning goal, with the ball clearly crossing the goal line before being cleared by a Serbian defender. However, without goal line technology or VAR available for the match, the referee and his assistants didn't see the ball cross the line and waved play on. Ronaldo was furious, throwing his captain's armband to the ground in disgust as he stormed off the pitch. What neither Ronaldo nor most viewers knew was that there was an obscure rule that could have saved Portugal. Under Law 5, if an assistant referee is unsure about a goal line decision, they are instructed to immediately make eye contact with the referee. If the referee hasn't seen it either, play should be stopped for consultation. In this case, television cameras clearly showed the assistant looking uncertain but failing to flag or make the required eye contact with the referee. The Serbian goal stood. Portugal had to settle for a draw, and the referee later apologized for the error. UEFA launched an investigation and suspended the officiating team for failing to follow the proper protocol for uncertain goal line decisions, a protocol that even most professional players didn't know existed. But the most obscure rule of all, the one that changed the outcome of a European Championship knockout match, concerns what happens when a player is injured during a penalty shootout. In the Euro 2020 semi-final between Italy and Spain, with the shootout tied at 3-3, Spain's Alvaro Morata stepped up to take Spain's fifth penalty. As he began his run-up, he appeared to pull a muscle in his right leg but continued anyway. His weakened shot was easily saved by Italy's goalkeeper. What few people realized is that under the laws of the game, if a player becomes injured during the taking of a penalty kick and cannot continue, the kick is recorded as missed rather than being retaken by another player. However, there's a crucial exception. If the injury is caused by an external factor or a specific identifiable incident, like a collision, then the penalty can be retaken by another player. Spain's coaching staff frantically argued that Morata's muscle pull was caused by a divot in the pitch, an external factor, and therefore another player should be allowed to retake the penalty. The referee consulted with his team and reviewed the footage, ultimately ruling that Morata's injury was internal, a muscle pull, rather than caused by an external factor. The penalty remained missed. Italy scored their next attempt, and Spain was eliminated from the tournament. The Spanish Federation later submitted a formal request to UEFA asking for clarification on this rule, claiming it was too vague and open to interpretation. These 5 obscure rules, the 6-second rule, stoppage time discretion, passive offside, double touch on penalties, and injury during penalty shootouts, have all changed the outcome of crucial matches at the highest level of football. They remind us that beyond the simple joy of watching 22 players chase a ball, football is governed by a complex legal framework that occasionally emerges from the shadows to alter the course of football history. The next time you're watching a match and see players arguing with the referee over what seems like an obvious decision, remember, they might be appealing to a rule that you've never heard of, a clause buried deep within football's extensive law book that could change everything in an instant. And that's what makes football so endlessly fascinating. Just when you think you understand everything about the beautiful game, an obscure rule emerges to remind you that there's always more to learn. If you enjoyed this deep dive into football's hidden rulebook, hit that subscribe button for more football secrets that will change how you watch the game forever. What other obscure football rules have you seen impact a match? Let me know in the comments below.